Melania Trump, Bernie Sanders. What do all of these people have in common? They are all campaign surrogates, and they were all out of the trail for Clinton or Trump yesterday, saying some provocative things in the process. Let's bring in CNN political analyst and USA Today columnist Kirsten Powers and CNN political commentator and senior writer for The Federalist, Katherine Ham. Ladies, great to see you.
Good to see you.
In case people missed it, let's just play Melania Trump's sort of her case for the vision for the country that she'd like to see. Let's play this from yesterday.
Our culture has gotten too mean and too rough, especially to children and teenagers. We have to find a better way to talk to each other, to disagree with each other, to respect each other. We must find better ways to honor and support the basic goodness of our children, especially in social media.
Kirsten, what did you think of her message yesterday?
Well, I mean, I thought it was a strange thing. I think a lot of people have talked about the fact that her husband is probably, more than anyone that most of us can think of, has single-handedly degraded our culture in terms of the meanness that he sort of brings to dialogue. But with her in particular, she was talking about, also people online behind, not using names, attacking people. Well, there was an incident where Julia Yaffe, a reporter who's on CNN from time to time, and she's a political reporter, she profiled Melania, and Melania didn't like the profile. And in fact, so much so that she threatened to sue Julia Yaffe. But she also, basically, Julia was on the receiving end of a bunch of unnamed people online sending her pictures of her face, photoshopped onto concentration camp victims because she's Jewish. She was getting death threats. She was getting people telling her, you'd make a great bar of soap, you'd make a great lampshade. When Melania was asked about this, Melania essentially said, well, she deserved it. So what I don't understand, I know she put that little line in about children, but we were also talking just about online bullying and attacking. And when she had an opportunity to stand up to it, she didn't. So, I really, honestly, you watch this kind of stuff and you're just like, is this for real? I really don't understand what's happening here.
Katherine, your thoughts on all of this?
I agree with her about this. I agree with Melania about her argument here, but as the president might say, come on, man. Like, Donald Trump himself has, of course, been engaged in a lot of mean name calling. That's a bit of a signature of his. So while I support the cause, I'm not sure how credible it is coming from this source. As far as Melania goes as a surrogate, I think she's interesting. I think she can even be impressive. She speaks several languages, but interesting, impressive, and relatable are different things. And I think in American politics, many people who have been in politics for a while, or many people who are doing these jobs, sort of have to pretend to be relatable, and it's a question of how well you pretend, because they haven't been living like normal American lives for quite some time. I think Michelle Obama is probably the best at it, and I'm not sure how great Melania is for reaching those outside of those who already want to vote for Trump. Okay. They find her fascinating with some good reason. Let's talk about another campaign surrogate, Eric Trump, Donald Trump's son. He said something very provocative on the campaign trail yesterday to a radio show. He not only denounced, he went further than denouncing David Duke, one of the KKK leaders. He basically said that he should be shot. Listen to this.
If I said exactly what you said, I'd get killed for it. But I think I'll say it anyway. The guy does deserve a bullet. These aren't good people. These are horrible people.
Okay, so Kirsten, I think that he was trying to give a full-throated denouncement of David Duke. What did you think of that language?
Well, I think we've been waiting for a long time for them for the campaign to basically come out in a very, like you said, full-throated way to condemn people. But then, of course, they just take it a little bit further than maybe it needs to go. Putting a bullet in somebody, it's probably not. Even though it is the KKK, probably not something you should be saying. It would just be nice if they would just denounce them.
Katherine?
Yeah, agreed. Like this can go a bit too far, but I do think it's interesting to watch people on this note because it's David Duke, but the rhetoric is violent. People going, "I'm outraged. Am I outraged? I think I'm outraged. I'm not really sure." Look, I think it's nice in public squares to be careful about the way you talk about these things. It's also very good to denounce David Duke. Maybe that's not the perfect way to do it.
Right. No, I agree. The mixed feelings are a tough one here, sorting through all of the mixed feelings about that denouncement. Okay, so now on the other side, Pharrell Williams, big celebrity, host of The Voice, et cetera, musician. He was out for Hillary Clinton. Let me play for you what he said.
How dare anyone question a woman's ability? Every person on this planet was brought into this world by a woman. My mother is able, your grandmother is able, your aunts are able, your nieces are able, your daughters are able. I've seen amazing things happen when women lead.
So, Kirsten, Pharrell Williams is like so eminently likable, you know, but what do you think about the effectiveness of having a celebrity who may not be relatable out there on the campaign trail?
Well, look, I mean, one of her big problems we've been talking about is with African-American voters and young voters, and in particular, an even narrower slice of young African-American voters. And so I think it is good to have somebody like him out there who, you know, can maybe try to generate a little more enthusiasm for her. Surrogates aren't typically going to convert anybody, but they're going to get people who are just kind of like maybe just not a little too lazy to get to the polls, or maybe just aren't excited about it, and really give them the reason to get out. They're getting out the vote.
Mary Katherine, effective?
Yeah, look, these folks are often base boosters, as Kirsten's saying. And, you know, Pharrell wrote one of the verses of Rump Shaker, which was formative in my childhood and middle school career. So I got to hand it to them for that.
That's awesome. Very, very quickly, let's play President Obama yesterday on the campaign trail as well, and you can tell me about his message. Listen to this.
If you disrespected women before you were in office, you will disrespect women as president. If you accept the support of Klan sympathizers before you are president, you will accept their support after you're president.
Kirsten, your thought on that message?
Yeah, well, I mean, his whole, if you listen to the whole speech yesterday, it really was, I think, one of Barack Obama's best, performances. I mean, he really is just hitting. He's just hitting every issue, and I think he's doing it in a way that's kind of funny, but also serious. And you know, he's kind of just the perfect surrogate. And so I think that I think it is effective, and I think this kind of message again is very effective with young people who really have a very low toleration for the kinds of things that he's talking about.